We just got a massive news update for the development of Project Zomboid, full of some incredible new details that haven't been heard before. This is the biggest one we've had in a while, so stay tuned as we cover what was shared. First, they begin outlining that Build 42 has 4 main pillars which they consider to be the big stuff that they need for the release. These things would be the moving of a lot of multiplayer systems from client to server side for more control and security, the huge and in-depth new crafting system, the all-new animals we've gotten to see, and the new engine improvements which will allow for things like better lighting and increased height and depth in the game. They say that the smaller things like the stuff they have their dev partners working on and just some general improvements their own staff is doing are considered nice to haves in their terms. Some of these things might end up being implemented in patches of Build 42 once it's more finished, which to me sounds like they might be trying to release the main features of Build 42 to the public earlier than expected. They then go into a little more detail about the progress on each of these pillar features. For the multiplayer work, they said that their lengthy first stage, which was getting the player inventories transferred to the server side, is now over, so they can begin stage 2, which is going to do the same thing with all the other player menu things like building, recipes, and foraging, for example. For the expansive new crafting system, the new code systems as mentioned in the last news has been incorporated into the main internal test build. What they have been doing since then is just fixing all of the things that putting this new stuff in has broken. They have almost reached a point where it is now quote-unquote operational as far as things being broken goes, but that's really all they've been doing since the incorporation. They do say though that the team is starting to discuss the next step for the crafting system and is looking forward to it immensely. The new animals and animal husbandry features sound to be almost complete, besides chickens apparently, which are still being innocently slaughtered. They say that the animals are at a stage where they are fun to play with for extended periods of time. They now also make sounds which brings them more life. We get to see a video where we can hear these sounds for ourselves along with a fresh look at some of the animals we will soon get to play with. At the end of this clip, we get a quick look at something very special. As you can see, deer will be among the animals coming to Build 42, and we get a great look at one. For the last of these 4 pillar features, the tech upgrades, specifically the chunked rendering and variable height systems, are in the bug fixing and optimization phase, and they predict that it will be this way for some time but are confident that it will be pretty much ready when the time comes. After this, they quickly throw in that they are almost done with the new fishing stuff, the farming revamp is still continuing and right now is having some new crop assets made, and the map expansion is continuing apace. The next big thing they cover is the awesome adaptive music system that has been a plan for some time now. It seems to finally be coming to fruition. Apparently, what the Formosa team has been working on lately is taking the soundtrack that by now we all know and love and creating variations that have different intensities. We already sort of have this with the action music added in Build 41 that plays when you're in combat, but now we will be getting adaptive music for exploration and based on in-game events. To better understand what they mean, we get a taste of this in another short video they share with us. I've gotta say, I love the way these new variations sound, and it's so cool that the music really does seem to match the feeling of whatever the current situation is in-game. After the video, they say pertaining to the special music for events, at the moment they are only working on a basic few like coming across new houses, opening doors, and vaulting fences, but they will be adding other events that can either have a big or small impact on the music intensity, like discovering special buildings, finding useful loot, noticing a survivor zombie, and so on. They note that this system still needs to go through lots more adjustments and fine-tuning. Continuing with some more in the sound department, the recording sessions to capture sounds of grunting, panting, and the sounds of pain have been underway. They have taken this opportunity to also do something pretty cool, which is recording some gibberish dialogue that they will make extremely muffled to use in their TV and radio shows like we already have, but they will also be for stuff like automated announcements in places like malls or certain locations in Louisville that continued playing even after the zombies took over. Moving on, the small feature that was teased on Twitter I quickly covered the other day gets brought up. This is that the new sleeping bags and tents can now be attached to certain backpacks when they are packed up. They show a picture of a survivor zombie wearing one. I think it looks so good, and I love the patches on this backpack as well. There are some more improvements to outdoor sleeping too. In addition, they state that tents are now containers and beds, and you can put a mattress or sleeping bag into one to improve the bed quality. You are protected from the rain in a tent, and this cool new look is actually what they look like now instead of it just being a new kind of tent as I had speculated before. You can also use pillows to slightly increase the bed quality of any kind of bed, and even car seats in connection to this. It is nice to see that pillows will finally do something. The team ends the blog post off with probably the most exciting part of the whole thing. We get our first look at some visuals for the new locations that will be underground. We see lots of pipes in this photo, and I can't help but think about the last time we talked about the upcoming support for networks of liquids and electricity, likely through wires and pipes, that will be used for a building's power and plumbing. Even just a simple image like this has my mind racing with excitement for the future of Project Zomboid. I cannot wait for things like basements and exploring the sewers. This week's Thursdoid has definitely been one of the most jam-packed development updates we've had thus far. We now have gotten to see pretty much every aspect of this update, so what do you think? What is the feature you are most excited for in Build 42? Is it the animals or maybe the new crafting overhaul? It's hard for me to decide.